Hello and welcome to your quick whistle-stop tour of the Jointflows platform. Now, Jointflows embeds natively within all of your CRM systems like Salesforce, HubSpot, Dynamic, Pipedrive, whatever it might be. But for the purpose of this demo, we're going to use our demo instance instead. Now, we're going to start off by selecting a playbook. The idea of a playbook is to be able to get people on train tracks, to be able to replicate a player behavior. So this is the playbook I'm picking over here. And what you'll see is within a click of a button, within a few seconds, the platform goes away and creates a project plan. The idea of what we're doing over here is creating alignment with your buying committee in terms of what it is that they need to see in order to feel comfortable with the decision they're making and how it is they need to see that evidence as well. So when this project is created, it's a list of tasks that sit in a logical order on a specific timeline, which all can pre-assign to the correct internal stakeholder, all the way down to step level, showing exactly what it is an individual needs to do to be able to achieve that task. But at the same time as opening up this internal view of this project plan, we're also then able to open up a view for our prospect, Otto, over here. So Otto is going to have this view, which is broken down into a few different areas. The first area we're going to focus on is timelines. Can we create alignment with Otto in terms of what he needs to see and how he needs to see it? Now, Otto might turn around and say, hey, this is great, Hitesh. However, I do not need to see the secure compliance stuff, so we can get rid of that. But actually, what's really important for me is an in-depth business case for my CFO. And we're going to focus that around net present value. Perfect. And we're in a rush, so we want that to happen at the same time as when we deliver the demo. Awesome. So with a click of a button, I'm going to drag in the entire workflow, once again, pre-assigned to the correct internal stakeholder over here. And we're going to go ahead and make that visible for Otto as well. So we've made that visible for Otto. So when we go over to Otto's environment, we can see the task that was removed is no longer here, and the task that we've added has appeared over here instead. Now, a couple of things happen. When we launched that initial playbook, it was anchored against a specific date to close, but as we add and remove complexity into the project plan, that date shifts as well. So now we've created alignment in terms of what Otto actually needs to see, but how do we go about showing Otto the evidence that he needs to see instead? So we can tap into a multitude of different data sources, but I'm going to use a call transcript over here. I'm going to generate a pain statement to begin with. Now, the pain statements are really cool because as more and more stakeholders enter the process, they're all going to have their own unique pain statements. They're all going to have their own unique requirements, and that needs to be reflected really succinctly. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to Otto's view over here. So we can see that his enterprise lead has this pain statement showing why it is he requires your services. As we then go back into the platform, you're going to see within a couple of seconds that we're going to create an exec summary as well. Now, all of this is great because it allows your champions to essentially sell when you're not in the room. It also means that as people enter the process in the buying committee, there's a simple way for them to get up to speed. And then thirdly, from a handover perspective as well, once you've signed the client, it's great because this deal travels with context through to your onboarding and CS teams as well. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put together a list of requirements that my prospect needs to see in order to validate their decision. When you think about what you're doing over here, in any selling process, you have a buyer and a seller. You have a buyer who acknowledges that they have a challenge they're trying to solve, and a seller who's a possible solution. And from that alignment, it's then your job as a seller to determine what it is that your prospect needs to see to validate the decision that they're making. So we've broken that down into solution requirements, financial requirements, and technical requirements, which appear nice and succinctly on this page over here. Once again, bringing everybody up to speed as and when they enter the process, and it also populates as we start to introduce more people into the process as well. It's great to identify gaps of what the requirement is and if you're missing it or if you've satisfied that requirement. And it's also a great reference point to be able to get direct citations from your prospect articulating why it is they have this requirement. Then we also have the ability to be able to share any type of content as additional evidence points for your prospect. So it can be video content, it can be PowerPoint, Google Docs, Canva, whatever it might be, embed links as well to be able to bring everybody up to speed. And if we then reflect back on what we've done so far, then we've started with a playbook, which puts everyone on train tracks. We've then layered on top of that the specific buyer requirements. So now we've got best practice as well as what's specific to this individual buying committee. Then we've also documented very well all of the evidence and requirements that the prospect has. As we then go back into this project and start to complete tasks, you'll be able to see that the progression and predicted close dates start to change as well. That's based on the amount of work that remains to be done and the complexity within the project itself. And then finally, here's what I've done earlier, but all of the medpic also populates as well, or whatever it is that your qualification methodology is, will populate, and you start to see relationships between progression in qualification and deal progression itself as well. Now, I think that's probably enough as a quick whistle-stop tour for today. There's a lot more to see, but I think that's good for now. If you've got any questions, please do let us know. Thank you.